is Johanna Carlisle. I am playing Effie in the Spitfire Grill, and my hometown is Tucson, Arizona. That's where I was born, and although it's quite the urban metropolis now, it wasn't at the time when I was born. It was a small city, and it was really nice. Also, coming from the Hispanic community in Tucson, we were such a tight-knit community, and so everyone knew everyone, and so you were kind of part of everyone's family. And that's what, to me, made Tucson feel like a very small town to me, growing up there. We went to a lot of festivals in town, things that I still try and do, even with my son today. But some of my favorite places were, like, Friday nights, we would go to my grandma's house, and we would get Lucky Wishbone chicken, and then we would play Yahtzee. And then my uncles and my cousins would come over, and then we would have, like, music in the backyard and stuff, so that was kind of fun. But my favorite restaurant is Casa Molina, because they make carne seca, which is a dried beef dinner that you just don't get anywhere else but in Tucson. It's just kind of a Tucson thing. And like some of my favorite things were going to the zoo, which was right in the middle of town. It was now it's called the Reed Park Zoo, but it was the Randolph Park Zoo at the time. And there was just a lot of things that were really neat. Being able to drive just a few hours away up Mount Lemmon and be able to have picnics and sometimes see snow and still be in Tucson was awesome. Being just a few hours away from Phoenix and watching Metro Center being built, that was kind of neat too, because that was really metropolis for us. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of Tucson for me.
My name is Jason Barth. I am playing Eli, the visitor, in the show. I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I lived there for quite a while. However, I consider my family roots are in north central Massachusetts. Did quite a bit of growing up there, out in the woods, real woods. Had about 19 acres of property, built a house out there. So I have great grandparents and great aunts and uncles and aunts. Everybody but my parents actually live there, myself. But yeah, right up on the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border. You walk into the one pizza joint in town and people recognize you or recognize your family just by looking at you. People that you're not quite sure you've ever met before. But yeah, really, really small town living. In a way, it's really, really wonderful because it's safe and secure. Those places where you don't have to worry about locking your front door. Leave the screen door open, and and you know, the downside to that is that everybody kind of knows what you're doing. It's hard to have any kind of privacy in small towns, so it's hard to get away with anything, especially as a young kid growing up. There's always a neighbor or neighbors probably related to you in some way, or try to visit every now and again. But yeah, I call New England home. I really, really love this show and how it harkens to those kind of places in the United States, places that are still wooded and forests. It's really, really refreshing to do that here in Arizona.
My name is Rusty Farrakane, and I play Caleb Thorpe. And I grew up actually in a very small town called Scottsdale, Arizona. Of course, many think that Scottsdale is a big town, which it is. But when I was growing up, 150 years ago, it was a very small town. There was actually only about 10 to 12,000 people back then. So it was quite a small town. When I was growing up, I grew up on Earl and Hayden, and right across the street was this huge cornfield. And if you look at it now today, it's filled with development and different high-rises and apartments and stores. When I grew up in Scottsdale, Shea Boulevard was the end of the world, and now it's pretty much the dividing point of the city. So I've seen Scottsdale go through a lot of changes. I remember as a little kid, sort of a small town feeling was whenever we had the Parada del Sol, there was a rodeo that came along with it. And we would all get out at 12 o'clock because that was the day everyone went to the rodeo. And we would get to wear our Western wear to school that day. So everyone brought out their little bolo ties and their little cowboy boots and jeans, and we'd go to school that way. And then we'd go to the rodeo afterwards. I don't know how authentic we were, how authentic our cowboys were, but we had fun doing that. And something else that I remember, as a kid growing up there. Like I said, it was a small town, so we didn't have huge places like Fashion Square Mall. It was actually, we had Fashion Square Mall, but it was just a little outdoor mall. So now it's a big fancy town, of course. So to look back on it, it's bizarre for me as a person who's grown up and has seen the city grow up too. A lot of times when you meet somebody that you knew as a little kid and they're suddenly a grown-up, you think, oh God, I feel so old. And that's kind of how I feel now when I drive around Scottsdale. I look around, I go, oh my gosh, look at how Scottsdale's grown up. And I kind of feel like we've grown up together, hopefully gracefully.